Good morning. Walter and I are enjoying coffee this morning on the porch. It's a very cool morning and it's supposed to be about 97 degrees today. Mm. I'm drinking my first cup of coffee with Walter here, and I'm thinking about getting started on some plant chores before it gets really hot. And then I am wanting to go to Eddyville today and deliver some plants to a new plant friend. And so that's super exciting. I've been waiting a few months now to meet this lady. So very excited about it. Look, I've got her that box set up and then that box on top of there. And I'm thinking about, what plants out here might need watered and what last minute stuff could I pack her that's ready. I still have several plants that, like these lipstick plants. I'll probably end up splitting them and downsizing them, especially like this Twisted Sister here, because it's pretty hard to keep dry. But I know she doesn't live too far away, so I don't have to give her all the plants at once either. Just if they're ready for her and I'm ready to repot, it'll happen. Not right, Walter? Yeah. Alright, so I got the seedling updates. Let's check out the little Hoya here. There's the cell with 2 seeds in it because now both of them are starting to come up. And so now I have germination in every hole besides these 2. And it looks like maybe one is starting to try to come up right there. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll check on another one. This one is the Long Island Improved Brussels sprouts, it looks like. I have one popping up, a couple of them, and this one's getting really leggy, so I made sure to prop it up high underneath the grow light. It's going to be really hot today, so I really don't want to have them out on the porch. This one, there's a little bit of stuff starting to pop up too, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. This one is, what did I dump in there? Oh, lettuce, Yeticule and botanical interest mix. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. Ooh, look at Waymanii putting out new leaves. Hello, Waymanii. Are you getting comfortable and cozy in your pot? I've only bottom watered this once and not watered it since, and it seems to be doing great. So I'm going to keep my eye on the seedlings, make sure they water out quite a bit, but not all the way because they have tiny root systems and tiny little leaves that just don't hold on to water like some of them bigger ones do. All right. I'll see my first Dischidia, however you want to say it. It's a Dischidia hirusta variegated, or Million Hearts is what it's also called. And I hear they have lovely, great smelling blooms, and I can't wait for it to bloom for me, or even just get bigger. Look how cute it is. Look at those tiny, tiny leaves. Those are so freaking cute. It's a Monday afternoon, and I'm at Lowe's, and I just spotted this $25 8-inch ring of fire right here, and then there's a Macaulay's Finale. So I just got back from Lowe's, and I was trying to film there, but I feel kind of awkward filming with other people there. And there wasn't a lot of people in the garden center Monday evening, really, but still, it's just odd. Maybe especially in this area where it's not around like a major city, and I don't know. It's just weird. Okay, so I did pick up in the clearance, and I was looking at this mixed Dracaena pot too. There was like this Dracaena Milky Way and then like a burgundy dragon tree plant, and I was really considering getting that too, but I did not. Passed on the Dracaena mix. Maybe it'll still be there when I'm ready to go back, because they were starting to get some new stuff in, and this is one of them. If it will come undone, I don't want to break any of this. Hoya curtisii, and this is one I have never seen before there. They have lots of Crimson Princess. That's a dime a dozen there now. Have not seen the outer variegated version of that, which is the Crimson Queen. And I have not seen AF Bertonier, or AFSP Bertonier. which means it's an affinity species of Bertonier. It's not actually Bertonier. Walter says I must love him. So I got a fresh batch of base mixed up, and lately it's been the Happy Frog, 2 extra Mackenzie handfuls of perlite, and just maybe covering the top 1/3 of sand and mixing that in, and then sometimes organolock and sometimes not, and if I don't remember to put it in there, I'm just not going to pull out the drawer and put some in there. Walter's making it hard for me to do anything, but I do have this Curtisia I'd like to get repotted tonight. And then what else did I pick up? A clearance Monstera standeliana albo, and good for Lowe's for not watering this ever, because I don't think it would have lived if they did, because it's just now feeling damp. But it seems to have grown since being in their greenhouse, and now it's ready for a new pot, and maybe we'll chop and prop some and all that. What does Walter think? He doesn't know. And then I traded some plants in Eddiesville, and I got some Florida Ghost. I'm still working on getting some spag off of the roots. Those roots were very well rooted in sphagnum only, no perlite, nothing like that to help break it up, and it's just a bit of a chore, it's all, but it's going to be worth it because there's some nice healthy roots. Sphagnum moss does a wonderful job propagating. It just takes a little work getting ready to put in soil. Okay, sweet kitten. So I want to get this Monstera. I'd like to get this stuff repotted tonight, seriously, but this one can wait. It's still moist in there, pretty stinking moist. I'm going to take the basin off of it. I usually don't even keep these because you want that drainage unless you're like in highlight out there or whatever, but these don't want highlight anyway. It says on the tag they do, but you're not going to want to put it where you grow tomatoes. First thing I want to look at is these Florida Beauties right here. There's 2 of them. Look how nice that big, thick root's growing in. I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but that is incredible. And then this one. And I feel like a lot of the sphagnum moss did come off soaking in water, but here's the thing. The reason why sphagnum moss works so well is because it also allows air to the roots. And so they're used to, it prepares them better for soil conditions. Whereas if you grow them in water, they're going to have more of a transplant shock because they're growing water roots versus soil roots, which are different. And you'll notice that with transferring things from hydroponics, semi-hydroponics, passive hydroponics, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. It's all in the roots. So you just got to prepare your roots for whatever, and sphagnum does really well for that. So the goal is to get most of them off, It's not going to, some plants it will hurt a lot if you leave some on there. Some plants it doesn't really affect. Philodendron happen to be pretty stinking hardy. And so letting them prop in spag for a long time does well. Might do well, I would say, versus a Hoya that it does not like that inconsistent watering because it wants more aeration. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. But I found Hoya roots to be pretty easy to clean for the most part. There's some of them that you can tell, you better go recheck those roots. You can look at the plant and see the inconsistent watering, and that's where it's coming from. So just be very careful with sphagnum moss. And just think about your soil conditions too. So, yeah, it makes sense to me, dang it. Read my mind or just have experience. maybe M.I. Gardner could just come on here and explain it way more gooder than me. All right, so I'm going to put these in pots. So I've got my base ready, and then in here I've basically been potting up a lot of Hoya lately, so it's been like half and half orchid bark and base. So I'm going to go ahead and just stir this up a little bit and see if I can separate. I'll add a scoop of my base in here too. A couple of them. That's pretty soil. Hold on, I'll show you a scoop what it's looking like. It's looking more like 75 to 25 ratio, more like, or 65-35. Guys, it has been a long, hot day. I am happy to be home. And the weather's starting to cool off a little bit. There's no breeze here on the porch, and it's just swampy. Like in my head, if I imagine me being at a swamp and gators popping out of the water, that's what it feel like. Okay, I think we're ready to put the plants in now. And I am going to gift these 2 plants to my coworkers, whoever wants them. Well, you're not supposed to fall over like that. So I'm just going to backfill them in. And voila, some Florida beauties. Don't worry, I have one for myself. Next up on the block is Monstera standoliana albo. Great plant, right? It'll look better once you get it watered and perked up, but I don't want to water it in this. It's just cocoa coir and self-watering if you don't know pasta. But look at that root. And then there's the wick. Hey, I've been reusing these wicks to experiment with my perlite semi-hydroponic propagations, which those they're not as good, I don't think, as sphagnum moss. Maybe pumice and size change and all that would make a difference. I don't know. That costs money, and do I really want to do that on an experiment? We'll see if the price is right. So, I'm cleaning all this cocoa coir off the roots, which is dry, and so it's great. It's easy. It comes right off. But I don't want it to cake to the roots. Hence why I add sand into the potting soil these days, is to help it from caking on to the roots. But look at that. And then we got this one too. So I'm going to put these in the same potting mix as I just done that philodendron, and they're going to work just fine. But of course I'm going to have to use 2 different pot sizes, and in fact I might just chop and prop this one. That way it might grow in bushier. We'll see how it grows. I don't know this plant. I've never seen anyone grow it either. I'm getting this one set up in a 6-inch terracotta. It's one of my new ones from Walmart. Walmart had a pretty good deal on them, and I had them delivered. And I'm just topping it off. All right, and then I'm going to water it in. Watering can. It should do a lot better, the root system, with this versus what it was in. But I think this other one, I'm going to put it in plastic, and I'm going to gift it. And then finally, for Hoya curtisii, I've got my Hoya blend. Usually I probably need to put in some more orchid bark actually. It's actually reptile bark that I'm using right now from Walmart. It's like $5 a bag. That's what I'm using. That's more like it. That's what I want to see for Hoya. I want to see enough moisture being held, and I want a lot of air to those roots. But don't worry, the bark soaks up some water too, and so does the perlite. So let's get this bad boy out of the basket. I like these hanging baskets though, and they're easy to decorate with a rope. I haven't found or experimented with other ways how to decorate them. Maybe I will this winter. Is it bad to say I'm ready to start winter sewing again? I need to get my pool garden fixed first and foremost. The weather's done whatever it's done to my in-ground garden. Actually, I have not been down in there since I planted those last tomatoes because I've been scared. Been scared to see what's happening. I'm afraid of disappointment. Maybe if I don't look, it'll take care of itself. Look at that though. It's nicely rooted for their Florida greenhouse. Like, Costa Farms puts out, and they got greenhouses every other places though too. There, I think there's one in South Carolina. I don't know of any other, can't think of any other ones, but there's lots of plant babies here to split and share. And it's nice to see other varieties coming out on the market besides SPAF, Bertonier, and Crimson Princess, which are amazing Hoyas. They're super easy and I love them, but yeah. Set my plants in this. Here, we'll set them there. This is gonna be a while. I'll come back to you. I do have a little planty chat. I did see at my new friend April's house that she has a trailing flame African violet. It's really pretty. And then I saw one I think is probably related to it called like Pilsia or something like that. It's a short name that starts with an P. There's definitely an L in there, and I think S-I-A. Pilsia is what I think it is. But it's there, and I thought, but hers was beautiful, and I was interested to see it, and it's a new baby for her, and I want it to grow it for her, and then maybe we'll get into the genus together, I don't know. But I just upped her Hoya collection by far. I don't even remember how many different varieties I gave her, but I gave her like everything I had available. If I had it ready to pot up, it was potted up, you know, just, I was excited, and I'm excited to get her into some different species too. And so maybe she'll get me into that flaming African, trailing African violet, whatever it is. I don't know anything about African violets. But I do think some varieties are really notable, and I probably would not mind owning them in my house. And some orchids too. I was looking at orchids, and then I saw Phalaenopsis orchids at Lowe, and they're big and beautiful, and I kind of want to get on the orchid bus too, but we shall see. I don't want a huge orchid, you know. And then I was watching orchid videos, and they say don't repot your orchids so big, and then they just have lots of those big orchid roots. He said that plant was about 15 years old, and it done spilled out over, and just roots are hanging. He says that's how they do it in nature. They just, the roots just hang like that. And so that's probably a big key in growing orchid too, is like, I know Planted in Rhode Island, he puts his, I can't remember, no, it's not him, it's someone else. Someone else puts theirs in straight orchid bark. That's it. They don't use those special orchid bark mixes or nothing like that. They just put it in that. And I might try it that way. We got them all cleaned off. I don't know how many plant babies I got, but I'll come back with you when I know. So how many plants did I get out of that hanging basket? Look at all of these I have for plant swap, plant giveaway, whatever. I got some 4-inch hanging baskets. There's 4 of them. 4 4-inch baskets. You could put a clip hanger on there, like some Costa Farms ones I just bought. They clip right onto those pots. Watch. And that's what I've got going on my Scindapsus Trebui Moonlight that I'm having issues with again. But it's probably my fault, but I just watered it tonight. So, yeah, I got lots of them, and I'm super excited to have a lot of a Hoya to give out to somebody, you know. Get them started in a genius on a plant addiction and all that fun stuff. That's right. So, I love you. And so does Jesus. God bless y'all.